Module federation is an amazing feature that can save you a lot of deployment time because it really simplifies your deployment process. So let's take a look at how to use it with React so that you can save time as well. Okay, so let's imagine you've built this really amazing navbar right here. I know this one doesn't really look all that great, but still, and you want to integrate it into multiple apps at once. So normally you would have multiple options for this. So just imagine you have app 1, app 2, and your navbar. The first one would be to take your navbar and actually copy it inside of both of these apps to then be able to use it in there. This has a lot of overhead because first of all, you need to copy and commit all of this stuff, and then you need to maintain it in multiple projects at once. So that's not ideal. The next option would be to actually turn this into a node module with a given version. Like let's just go with 1.1.1 and then put this node module inside of the package.json of all of your apps. Well, this is a downside though as well, because first of all, you will need to deploy each one of these apps for that to work. And next downside is that you might miss one app during your release, and then your navbars will look different in each part of your app, which of course isn't ideal either. So let's get to where module federation comes in, because it will solve this problem for you. Because with module federation, you turn your navbar into its own little service, basically, that exports a single file. And that file can be gotten through a URL you will define in both of your apps. This can be the exact same URL and it's not version specific. And then your app will just go ahead, fetch the navbar as a React component from this backend and integrate it during runtime. So whenever you make a change to your navbar microservice, it will automatically apply in your app 1 and app 2 as well. So now let's take a look at how to actually integrate it into React. Okay, so to get started, let's first of all create our little module federation app by running npx create mf app. And this will basically allow us to create the host and the app that will give us the module federation component that we want to use. So first of all, we're going to create the host. We can leave it as host and make it an application, because it will of course be an application that will consume some of our module federation JavaScript. Then we can already cd into there and run an npm install. And while that is running, we can actually also go into another terminal and run exactly the same command. And this time we will not create a host, we will create a module. So I'll just call it mo, because module is a reserved keyword. But we'll go with application anyway, because one other way you could do this is to actually define the navbar in one app and also display it in there, and then have another app call that app to basically access the navbar, which would also be quite a good use for module federation. Now let's just go here. This will of course need to be 8081, because otherwise we will run into issues. And it will also be React with JavaScript and CSS. So now let's also cd into mo, run an npm install in here, and then we will just copy over our navigation from here into the source directory of mo. And now we can see navigation is export defaulted right here, and we could actually already use it inside of the app.jsx like this. And now if we run npm start, we should see it pop up quite soon. And now we can see our navbar was imported properly and it's already working. So let's module federate it now. For that, we will need to head into our webpack config.js, and here you will see module federation at the bottom. And here we can see our name and the file that our federation stuff will be in, which will be important soon. But first of all, we'll need to expose this. So we'll say it will be available using /navigation. So we will import it later using mo/navigation, and we'll need to define where it is. So it's in /source/navigation.jsx. And now for this to take effect, we'll just restart the service real quick and head over to our host, because now we want our host to be able to actually consume this as well. So let's head to our hosts webpack config.js and add a remote here. And our remote is first of all going to have a name. In this case, we'll just go with mo. You should of course always keep this up to date with what it's actually called in the other webpack config. So mo is quite fine here. Then you'll need the name again and an @http://localhost 8081, because that's the port we chose for our module, /remote entry.js. So basically the file name defined in here. Now what we can do is actually head into our app.jsx and tell it to const navigation equals react.lazy, which is a special function used for lazy loading components that go over the network. And here we can just say import mo/navigation, and then we'll just try to load it in here. And now you might imagine that this will already work if we hit npm start, but we will run into an error. So let's just take a look at what it is. And it tells us that we need to add a suspense in there. So a suspense is basically a little fallback that React will apply while the navigation hasn't loaded yet. So here we can just say suspense and suspense around our navigation, and add a little fallback, which will apply if we had a really slow connection that would need some time for our navigation to render. So here we can just say loading ... You could also add some JSX in here if you wanted, but this will be absolutely fine. Let's just take a look, and you can see localhost 8080, our host, now contains a navbar, and Mo also contains a navbar. And if we were to change it inside of Mo, by for example changing this color from red to white, and we reload, we will see it applies in a Mo and also after reload in a host as well. So this basically allows you to have live updates around all your apps as soon as you deploy one app, instead of having to deploy every app separately and losing valuable development time. So this is just a really awesome way to make your work more efficient. And what can also make your work more efficient is properly using TypeScript with React. So how about check out this video where I'll show you how to properly use TypeScript with React to improve your development skills even further.